All right, I'm getting kicked off. All right, everybody, welcome to SF Demo Night. Who's excited? All right, come on, here we go. Okay. That's the trick question. We're all excited. I'm so excited to be here. Can I get one more huge round of applause? One more huge round of applause. All right, great, I love it. Okay, so for those that don't know, it's kind of hard to read this. My name is Chappie. I'm one of the co-founders here at the GenAI Collective. Consider me one of many friends that you'll hopefully make tonight. Random side note, but we're living through really crazy times. It's really special what's gone on even just the last couple weeks in AI. You see like the Stargate project, $500 billion in funding going to AI. And yet, the hottest AI model right now, DeepSeek R1, was an open source project, $5 million to create. The grounds for innovation has never been more fertile than it is right now. And hopefully we get to see some of that tonight. So again, really special times. I am so honored to be here. I hope you all feel great about being here too. Anyways, tonight's demo night was really a community-wide effort. From the GenAI Collective, we have over a dozen team members who helped make tonight possible. Look around at all the people who are wearing orange vests. A lot of them are outside still wrangling people, but we have some people up front wearing orange vests. We are a nonprofit. We're a grassroots community, completely volunteer. So everybody you see here on the team has taken time out of their very busy and successful lives to be helping make this event possible. So thank you all. Can we get a round of applause actually for all the volunteers who helped make tonight possible? It was a many person effort. Additionally, Product Hunt has been working tirelessly throughout the whole process to make tonight's event possible and all the demo nights previous to come. Product Hunt CEO Rajiv is going to be up here moderating all the demos. It's going to be really incredible. We'll talk more about that partnership in a moment. Also, a huge thank you to all of our sponsors, Graphite, Rome, Emergence Capital, for making tonight possible. Even though we're a nonprofit and volunteer, hosting events like this, creating community, supporting community, is incredibly expensive. So we're always looking for values-aligned partners to help us make these events possible, make this community possible. Can I get a round of applause for all the sponsors, all the demos tonight? We're going to hear from Rome a little later tonight, a world premiere demo. But before we do, can I please get Emergence Capital up first to talk about what they're working on?
Hey, what's up everyone? So great to be here with you all today. My name is Rishabh. I'm an investor in Emergence Capital. Here my teammate Wendy, I'll let her introduce herself.
Hello, I'm trying to get my slides working, but I'm Wendy. I'm an investor at Emergence as well. Previously to this, I led AI engineering at a company called Airtable. And we at Emergence love to invest in people who change the way the world works. So a little bit about our fund. We are around $3 million in assets under management. We do exclusively B2B technology, exclusively early stage, so seed through Series B. And we've been very fortunate to work with a lot of companies like Zoom, Viva, Bill.com, Doximity, Salesforce, etc. from very early days. Something unique about Emergence is that we take a super focused approach. So every one of our partners only does, on average, one investment a year, which means that we can really be there for the companies that we support. So I think you'll see that in our portfolio stats where almost 20% of our investments have reached a unicorn status. 11 of those have exited and 20 of them have had exits and private valuations over $500 million.
Awesome. Another key part of the focus of our firm is we're very deliberate about who we're investing on behalf of. Virtually every single dollar at Emergence is invested on behalf of a charity or a major endowment. These are some of the great organizations that we've been very lucky to partner with. And we take that responsibility very seriously. Kind of going on, another key benefit of the focus we have, the fact that we back so few companies and so few founders, is that we physically just have the time to give them. And we kind of really excel on two major fronts in helping our portfolio companies. One is talent, and then the second is go-to-market. On the talent front, we aggressively activate our network to help you get the best possible operators and executives for your company. One data point here is that over the last 5 years, we've placed over 200 executives across our portfolio. And the other key aspect of our help is in go-to-market. we've seen it all, everything from really top-down, heavy enterprise sales with companies like Salesforce and Viva, all the way to very much PLG-led growth with companies like Zoom. We've seen every flavor of what a go-to-market playbook looks like for enterprise software, and we're excited to help you figure out the next stage of that. And now in the age of generative AI, we are actively investing in 3 major work streams in AI. One is application layer, companies like Stackblitz, which are democratizing web application development. Companies at the infrastructure layer, companies like Together AI, which are making it much easier to train, inference, and compute. And then at the services layer, companies like Mechanical Orchard, which are reimagining what it means to be a tech-enabled service and taking on legacy incumbent providers. If any of these work streams sound interesting to you, we'd love to chat with you. Please feel free to reach out, and we're excited. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Another thing we use them for is we've got, as you might know, Product Hunt's a distributed team. We've got people in spanning 14 different time zones. And so their PR stacking really helps us prevent entanglements. So check out Graphite and just thank them for sponsoring this event. Graphite.dev, and let's give a hand of applause for Graphite.
Once again, this event literally would not have been possible if it were not for our partners, because we don't make any money. Okay, so what is SF Demo Night? Show of hands, who's been to an SF Demo Night before? Okay, I see a lot of hands. Who has not been to an SF Demo Night before? Okay, I think everybody raised their hands. Everybody was paying attention. Thank you. It's always a trick I try and play. Okay, SF Demo Nights are an evening of bringing together live demos in collaboration for the innovators shaping tomorrow, highlighting the greatest founders in SF and really just uplifting the entire community. That's what we aim for. When you think about it more broadly, we're bringing a global network of events that elevates the entire tech community ecosystem worldwide. As I said, ultimately, this is pretty big. We think this will become the most impactful event series in tech history. Product Hunt and the GenAI Collective are deeply dedicated to realizing this vision together. In fact, we've done a pretty good job of that so far. So we've now hosted these demo nights in over a half dozen cities around the US, including the ones you see here. And we're trying to step it up with every single event. Seriously, we're trying to host an event at the Chase Center with thousands of people at the end of the year. If you know anybody who has connections to the Chase Center that might be able to help us do that, please, shoot me a DM on LinkedIn or something. I would love help with that. With that being said, welcome to Tech History and welcome to SF Demo Night. Can I get a huge round of applause? All right. With that being said, you know what time it is? We are entering the demo arena. We are going to have, it should say 8 startups. We're going to have 8 startups doing 5-minute demos each, followed by a couple minutes of Q&A. We're going to be using the Demo Night app. I'm going to explain what that is in just a second. We're going to be doing award voting as determined by you all, and end with a trophy ceremony. Whoever is doing volunteer in the back, can somebody go get the trophies and bring them up here? I meant to do that, I just completely forgot. Ashwini, could I make your chat? Thank you. The trophies are where the dessert is. Okay, thank you. Okay, so what is the Demo Night app? How do I get this on my phone? Well, I'm going to show you. Everybody, pull your phones out. I know we don't normally pull out phones at events, but I really want you to pull your phone out. You are going to want to pull your phone out because this is an experience you're not going to want to miss. So this QR code, scan that. It's going to take you to demos.genaicollective.ai. This is how you're going to interact with the entire event, okay? Let me walk you through it. So right now, we're in the pre-demos phase. In the pre-demos phase, you can enter whatever information you want here. You can stay completely anonymous if you want to. The more information you add here, the more helpful you're probably going to be to the demoists, and the more likely they are to follow up with you after, if you'd like that. Once we get into demos, you're going to see this screen. Very easy to leave feedback for the demoists. They're going to be asking for it. You can rate 1 through 5 stars, completely anonymous. This is not tied to your name, so be brutally honest. They want brutally honest feedback. You can edit your profile anytime by going up there, so don't worry about doing that all right now. Maybe pay a little more attention to me. And then there are buttons at the bottom where you can take actions. You actually see a little info button down there. If you click on that, it's going to explain all the actions. I'm not going to take the time to do that, so we're moving quick. Once we get to community voting, we have our awards that you'll be able to vote for. We'll then go through and announce the results. And the winners will get these trophies that are coming in right now, these custom trophies. We'll talk about the awards in just a second. At the very end, we'll have the recap screen. You can see all the feedback you left for people. You'll have emails and links to go follow up with every company that was demoing tonight. And you can even see that blue button. What does that blue button do? Well, this is actually a whole entire open source project built by the community for the community. If you want to contribute to making this demo night app as awesome as it is, you can just fill that out and come join us. Okay, with that being said, that's what the demo night app is. Hopefully you have it all up on your phone. If you do not, just pull somebody in who's wearing one of the desks. They'll help you get set up with the demo night app at any time tonight. Again, I highly recommend you are on that. With that being said, we are voting on 3 awards. Are all 3 of them up there? Looks like all 3 of them are up there. We have Most Creative, Best Technology, and Best Overall. So keep this in mind when you're watching the 8 demos tonight. Think about which one might fit each one. You can only vote for each company once for each demo, so you can't like vote for cursor for all 3. So be decisive. You know what time it is. All right, well, some of you know what time it is. Approximately half you know what time it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. Sanctioned by the California State Events Commission. Our 350 judges scoring this contest are all of you in the audience. And when the action begins, our referee in the arena, Rajiv Iyengar. This day is brought to you by Graphite, Rome, and Emergence Capital. And now, attendance and demo night fans watching around the world, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. Let me get off that. Live from AWS in San Francisco. It's time! There we go. All right, how about that for a hype up? All right. There we go. Okay, 8 rounds to determine the undisputed demo night champion of the world. Let me now bring on the stage Rajiv, CEO of Product Hunt, who's going to take us from here. Huge round of applause for Rajiv.
Let Intel come up. Awesome. Who are you and what are you building?
Good evening. My name is Brendan Giles. We are building an enterprise AI analyst for Fortune 500s.
Okay, enterprise AI analyst. Does it analyze enterprise? What does it analyze specifically?
Yeah, so depending on the company, it's going to be doing spreadsheets, SQL databases, Python, web research. It's deployed today as an analyst in defense contractors, Anheuser-Busch, law firms.
Is this like process automation, but it actually like lists all your processes so you don't have to spend as much work like identifying and building this?
Yeah, it's like a remote hire. We submit the resume to the website, we get the interviews, and we actually put it on interviews before.
Is that actually how you get into the enterprise? That's true. Cool. Can we see it?
Let's do it. So the focus for today's demo, we wanted to talk about multi-agent systems. So over time, for folks that are building in the space, you find that you need either more tools than an agent is able to handle, or there's additional context that you want to keep within systems in a permissioned way. Over time, you find that multi-agent systems are a good bet. So the one that we're going to be looking at today, a few different ones, uses what we call a supervisor agent to control a number of sub-agents. Those sub-agents for us are spreadsheet writing, document writing, security and compliance for when we have to do our SOC 2 reports, and then everything from email management and Drive. Let's start with the first one.
Who would be like a typical user of this?
Yeah, so at an Intel analyst, for example, would be using this for web research to get various supply chain reports that are on the internet and then help analyze them. Yep. The one that we're going to be looking at today is similar to the work we do at Anheuser-Busch. So it's regulations analysis on internal documents. So what's happening in front of us, it's going to happen pretty quickly. I'll read it off. The prompt is effectively look into the internal data sets within this organization. There's going to be a number of PDFs and workflows that they're able to pull from. The system here can actually A, open them, B, analyze them, and then C, render them for us. Give me 1 sec, like any good demo, we'll have to refresh once or twice.
So this is hooked up to a variety of internal systems.
Yep, so today we're hooked up into, I believe, 25 systems operating on a number of different asset types. There's a few examples of those asset types here. What's happening under the hood? It's doing a semantic search. It's going to be opening these one at a time. As it opens, it's able to read any one of these documents. And then for part two, it's actually going to be writing them all to a spreadsheet, results, which in this case is an assessment of various usefulness of documents against an organization.
How hard were the system integrations and how brittle are they?
Oh, brutal, brutal. And each time you think you're done, you meet a new company that did it differently. So it's exciting all the way. The next one I'll load up here for folks that are in the more data science space is an in-depth analysis of a spreadsheet. This one, I believe, is a few 100,000 rows. It's going to create an action plan for us. It's going to farm out this action plan then to that notebook agent that we talked about from before. And it's going to autonomously go and run various cells in this Jupyter notebook, both in the back end, and then it's going to run that in the front end so that way you can take over at any point. What we found is the most useful is by showing the user at any given stage, they can pause it, take over, clean it up, and over time, adding more and more memory management allows us to learn what are the right preferences or workflows, which are going to be different company to company, regardless of the underlying tech. That tech being creating a document, looking through your email, the way you answer an email and generate a Python analysis is very different.
Are you gravitating towards like specific job functions or specific types of companies in terms of who you're building for?
No.
No.
No. I think the entry-level analyst role is purposely horizontal. When you hire someone out of university, you train them up in the organization, and that's the special power of these orgs, is training people to be really good at their job and then become an asset within the organization. So what we're allowing them to do is to do that repeatedly. The work we do at Anheuser looks very different than the work we're doing at a law firm, but it actually looks more similar than another beverage company. So what we find is actually organizations have very different workflows, even while in the same industry. So horizontal and allowing them to configure it at the edge is what we find the most beneficial.
In terms of where you go from here, are you thinking about expanding horizontally to like more and more industries, but staying as an entry-level analyst, or are you thinking about becoming more than an entry-level analyst?
That's plenty for us. That's we're horizontal. We have enough market to go after, and if our investors heard that, they would shoot me. Cool. And then we can do one more if we have a slight bit of time while this one finishes. The last one for us is going to do a similar analysis using some external data feeds. And then it's going to actually create a few documents, if I remember correctly, both Word and Excel. And then that's available to export for them as well.
Variety of use cases. Well, we have time for a couple minutes of questions, but before that, first, quick show of hands. How many people understand what this product is? Okay, and then how many people have are familiar with what entry-level analysts do or have worked as entry-level analysts?
All right. Hey, everyone.
Who are you? What are you building?
I am Akash, co-founder of Big Smart AI, and we're building consumer AI. So you can actually go here right now, and you can just use this if you want. It's for everyone. That's why it's big. This started again by CTO Peter. We were big users of Perplexity, and we hated going to Google all the time for 80% of our queries. Because when I put in Airbnb Crunchbase, Perplexity gives me nothing, which I'm going to demonstrate in a bit here. I hope Arvind isn't sitting in the crowd. But basically, the way we saw it is queries split into kind of 3 categories. There's the 80%, which is I just want a top link or a really instant answer. It's very straight up, very straightforward. Then there's I need to get a lot of web results. I need to go pretty deep in research. I need to follow up. And then the third thing is I need to chat with the intelligence of the model. ChatGPT is really, really good at the third one. They're not so great at search right now. Perplexity is pretty good at that, but neither of them are good at that first one. How do I get something simple? And so we were like, okay, what if we were just good at all of them? And especially the first two to start with. And so I'll show you guys an example before I start running some live ones, but the reason I bring this one up, it's like pretty random. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the top dog names in France, but I actually had somebody literally message me this yesterday, and they were like, I was searching for the top dog names in France, and you guys just told me like dog names that are really popular in America that are like French, and that's not what I wanted. And so we sat there and we looked at a query, and then we kind of restructured it a bit, and we came up with, okay, the right way to ask this is actually, what are the top dog names in France? But to be fair, we work with keyword search too, so you can argue it should have worked. And so then we actually and I'm not gonna go click into these links right now, but we actually went and we found that, these names actually, if you dig in here, are ones that people in France actually name their dogs. And so if you compare this to Perplexity, where these are actually just dog names that are French that people in America like, or ChatGPT, where they didn't even really source anything, even though they did run a search, and they did the same thing. You can see we came up with kind of better answers. And so that's kind of where we get better in depth. But really, like I said, right, there's the Airbnb Crunchbase query. And so with us, what we do is, and I'll just run this again so you guys can see, but what we do is within a little while, we'll give you links that are like Google tier quality right away, right? Because that's probably what you want if you search Airbnb Crunchbase. And then we'll also actually successfully complete the scrape, and we'll give you the information there. If I go do this in Perplexity right now, and I literally run Airbnb Crunchbase, and to be fair, this isn't their pro mode, but you guys can run that yourself if you want. I stopped paying for Perplexity Pro because I don't want to fund competitors, but Peter can run that for you if you want. You'll see that they didn't even pull up any Crunchbase links. And there's a variety of reasons for that, most of which I don't actually know because I don't know how their backend works.
So with Big Smart, if you
Yeah.
go back to Big Smart,
Yeah, sure.
it looks like there are three things going on.
Yeah, sure.
There's a quick answer, which is kind of more familiar search and presenting the information a really quick way.
Yeah.
And then there's the slower, more thoughtful answer.
Yeah, so I'll give you an example of that. So let's search
Right underneath.
I don't know, Mallorca, all right?
Mallorca,
Or Mallorca, yeah.
And then, okay, so you got the quick answer, you get some.
So we also have some knowledge cards, as you can see, that we partner with Taco on. So if you were looking for sports results, you can get those. But we have the instant answer, which we serve up with a very fast model, and so that'll be much faster than anything Perplexity or really anyone can give you. And then we have immediate links, right? We try to serve those up under 700 milliseconds. It's not as fast as Google as everyone else is used to, but they're there. And then we have a whole deep dive, right? And we'll give you videos sometimes in images.
And then what's this at the bottom?
And so then I can actually follow up. So I can be okay, well, I don't know, maybe I'm all right, what are the best places to stay in Mallorca?
This
And
is
so
the thoughtful, the conversational.
yeah, and so this is the thing you don't get with Google right now, right? And you do get this with Perplexity, you'll get this with others, but what we'll do is we'll actually run a whole new neural search on this. We'll get you the results you actually want, so you can click in, right, if you need to, and we'll actually pull these results out. And so I think the whole point of this is you can literally just search from your URL, and you can get your Google quality results right away, which right now, if you do that with kind of these other services, the results I get are, maybe they're good for sources, but not so much for other things. And with us, you'll get the Google level results, and you'll also get all the AI answers and the AI follow-ups. And so, yeah, that's what we built, and I showed you kind of some knowledge cards. If you search NVIDIA, which I'll quickly do here, we'll pull that up too. And the reason I don't jump into kind of deeper queries is because I want you guys to try that out. But we'll pull up an instant answer. You guys will get some amount of information. They actually ran this in our Canary environment where we don't serve knowledge cards right now, but you'll get stock information and whatever else. So, yeah, pretty straightforward, but try it out.
Awesome. And got time for a couple questions. Any questions? Yeah.
Akash, great demo. Quick question. How do I know that the response you are giving is really the best one?
Yeah, so that's actually something that we get asked a lot. And I
The
think
response is the best one.
yeah, and the thing with this kind of product is right now, you really have to be a power user of these things where you're gonna go dig in and you're gonna figure out that is this actually the best? Generally we recommend people search for stuff at first when they try it out, you can either try it out like side by side, right? Or you can search for things you already know, right? Where you know what the right answer should be, and maybe you know ChatGPT messed it up for you. That's the best way to test it out, to be honest. But we don't do like live evals because it is a consumer product at the end of the day, and we actually think like there's some more interesting plays in other directions than just correctness.
I got a question. In terms of like the user behavior, you've got sort of 3 modes: quick answer, slow, like thoughtful answer, and interactive answer.
Yeah.
Where are you seeing people, like what's the split between those modes?
Yeah, so follow-ups are actually a pretty low split right now. I would say like maybe like 10% of like queries end up being follow-ups. Most people love the instant answer, actually. And I think the reason is, again, like 80% of queries actually fall in that first category, and nobody's really serving those up well. Actually, ironically, Google's the best of that.
Awesome. Question.
Super quick question. Are you guys actually scraping the web or using some third-party provider for the?
Yeah, great question. So we're using a combination. So we have our own like scraping infrastructure, which we run, and like that actually works really well. That's why we're able to get good results. But then we do also use third-party providers right now because we actually whipped this thing out in a month and a half. So in order to be good on that, we give you guys the best results from like kind of multiple sources.
Awesome. Let's end there. Thanks for the demo. And
Thanks, everyone.
Yep. Next up is Gauge.
awesome. Who are you? What are you building?
Yeah, so my name is Kalen, and I'm building Gauge. We are building a set of tools to solve the monolith microservices dilemma. And what that really means is we're helping large companies untangle their code base. So break apart dependencies and make the code base something that you can actually reason about again, something that you can develop really fast. And again, there's kind of benefits when it comes to testing, runtime, CI, the whole kind of developer experience.
Awesome. Like, just a quick show of hands. Who here has encountered that dilemma? Anything you could quickly say about like how painful it was?
A little bit. I worked at GitHub for 7 years. We were the biggest Rails app and monolith, and so breaking that into individual services and moving toward a service-oriented architecture was probably one of the most painful things that I've had to do in my career because it involved looking at so many like legacy systems.
Yeah, back of the cuff, we've talked to folks at GitHub, we've talked to folks at a lot of large organizations who have gone through this, and it's easily hundreds of millions of dollars in engineering hours spent on just untangling and untangling. So yeah, we really want to make that a problem that is actually solvable, actually tractable.
Awesome. How do you solve it?
Yeah, so we've been building some open source tools. That's kind of what I'm going to demo today, alongside a bit of our kind of platform that accompanies that. And so our first tool is called TACH, T-A-C-H. It is a Python library that will actually scan your code base and pick up kind of what are modules and what aren't modules. This is something you can actually interact with to define basically the things you're trying to break apart in your code base. So here I actually have Sentry's code base as an example. They're one of the biggest open source Python monolithic repos on GitHub. And let's just go ahead and mark up a couple modules that we might care about here. So I've kind of marked all the top level modules, but we'll take a few more for the purposes of this demo. And if I save this, we can run TACH sync. And what this is doing is our open source tool is actually basically reading the entire code base, pulling out your existing set of dependencies, and syncing that to a config file. And what this is, or what this looks like, is basically for each module, what does that thing depend on? What you can actually do then is like start to work on fixing some of these things, right? So if we were to take Sentry Analytics, for example, and I wanted to break this up, what you can actually do is kind of modify your config, look at the output, and see what those dependencies are and how to break them. For the purposes of kind of this demo, I'll kind of jump straight into something that's a little bit more visual. So we also kind of have built a platform around this. We're going to take all the information from the code base, take all the information from this config we've generated, and we can actually start to visualize this for your code base. So here's Sentry's code base. We can actually look at the pretty large number of dependencies that are coming through between these modules. the usages and kind of cycles and all these really like nasty things that developers have to work on. This actually gives you kind of a direct set of breadcrumbs to go solve these problems. So we can go in to any specific module, again, like Sentry Analytics, and take a look at the interface, how it's consumed. This will all link like directly to your code base, all that good stuff. And then also actually visualize what the module graph looks like, which gives you a really clear starting point for some of the things that are like actually kind of big problems. So for example, here we can kind of see Sentry API and Sentry Auth. We have a cycle here. This can basically cause a lot of problems, right? If someone changes something in one place, it can have an impact in many, many other locations. And the way we can actually kind of enforce against this is through kind of an actual platform that integrates with GitHub. So we have basically a little bot that will catch these errors, prevent developers from introducing them, as well as a set of checks that we expose that will basically enforce that you're moving in the right direction. And then also basically provide you the insights that you need to go tackle and fix these things over time. Kind of the last piece here, this is a GenAI night. We've also built some tooling to specifically go and actually analyze a specific set of relationships and provide you context on the steps you actually need to take to break these things apart. Cool.
Awesome. Questions? Yeah.
I really liked your
Here.
sorry. I love your dependency graph. Are you guys doing some sort of call graph underneath? I'm just curious to know a little bit more about how you're generating that.
So technically how this works under the hood, we're parsing the AST, if anyone's, we're actually using Ruff's AST parser. So if anyone's familiar with Astral, they have an incredible, extremely fast.
Go to this back.
Speaking of this, yeah, so TreeSitter though is definitely on the roadmap because we want to support more languages. But yeah, I'm parsing the AST to pull out kind of that source of truth information, static analysis.
Yeah, question. Just yell.
Okay, is this a Neo4j database that you're displaying here?
Say again?
Is it Neo4j?
No, this is just Postgres. Yeah.
And then for models that you're testing, or you're testing them locally, is it possible to decide which model that you want to use?
Right now, we're just using Claude. The AI features are actually pretty beta for us. The kind of enforcement, the analysis, static analysis is really like the core features that people are paying us for, but it's definitely something that we're exploring very actively.
Nice. One more question?
Do you have any suggestions how to move later to differentiation code base? So as opposed to people right now that trying to people to avoid to reuse the same code base in internal dependencies. But do you have ideas how to move where it's automatically separates?
Yeah, so something we're also actively working on is code mods. Basically, can we actually just do this work for you, right? So if we look at this cycle, for example, what are the dependencies that are crossing this specific boundary on this specific edge? We can actually go and refactor that for you. And so we want to be able to both, take the rule set that you provide, isolate code, and enforce that it stays that way over time too.
How would you do that? How are you doing that?
So we have explored a couple different approaches. So with code mods specifically, you can write code that moves code. And so there's a couple of cool approaches that are actually using kind of a generative step to write the code mod itself. And then we can run that, put up the PR, and have that kind of being reviewed by a developer at the end of the day.
Awesome. Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Leave some feedback in the app. Awesome. So you're building tools for AI coding tools.
Right, exactly. Tools for tools.
Yeah. What kind of context how do you help them be smarter?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So hands up, who here is a developer? Oh wow, really? I thought you were all high fashion models. It's a lot of people. I'm just kidding. But okay, so here's the situation set up, right? Like, we've all been debugging, and when debugging, experienced developers, they don't start looking at a problem by looking at every single file in a code base.
They usually follow execution paths, they understand system architecture, and they really try to develop a mental model of the problem by looking at a subset of the code that is the most relevant. And right now, AI coding tools, they don't really navigate code this way. They try to read all of the files, and as a result, they get bogged down in a lot of unnecessary detail. And so with context windows capped at what, like 200K, this isn't just inefficient, but it's also really impossible for large code bases when you're trying to cram in all of that context. And so we want just the most relevant sliver, and that's what Nuance provides. We've started by developing what we call the nuance graph, and it's basically just a call graph augmented and enriched with static analysis information. Things like, is this function pure? Does it have side effects? Does it have state mutations? We want to help these AI coding tools and agents understand how errors propagate through a system, what the data flow looks like, stuff like that. You want to see how it works?
Yeah, let's see it.
All right, let me show you. This demo is also a CLI. That would be really nice, yeah. All right, let me actually start with, I'll use an example debugging a real issue. So this is in the Polars code base, the Polars library, where we have a failing test because these non-number values, they're not correctly being converted to null. And so the way that we do that is, the way that we do that is, we run the nuance init command, and this initializes basically nuanced and indexes your code base, and that's a one-time thing that you have to do when you're getting started. Then I generate the what I call the nuanced graph using the nuanced enrich command, and so that we don't have to suffer with my typos, I have it right over here, so I can copy and paste it. It's generating the nuanced graph, and as you can see, it did it. I can ls, I can see that the nuanced graph exists. Then I'm gonna fire up my coding agent, and or my coding assistant, and I'm gonna tell you basically, or show you what it looks like to use it without nuanced, and what it looks like to use it and ask a question with nuance. So I'm gonna add basically the file of the function that's under test. And then I'm going to say, basically, can you concisely explain how we might update this data frame to ensure that this test actually passes? And it's going to do its thing. And it's thinking about it, and it gives me a pretty good answer, right? It's telling me, like, what I want to do, what I want to detect. And then I say, okay, well, now we're going to give it the nuanced graph. And then I'm going to ask it, based on the call graph in this in the nuanced graph, can you basically do the same thing again? Can you tell me what to do and ensure that this behavior passes, or that we modify the behavior such that the test passes? And as you can see, it's kind of a subtle difference. It's not super conducive to demos like this, but you can see that it's a lot more specific. It basically points me to the exact implementation of the sequence to IDF function, and it helps me hone in on exactly what I need to do. And that's sort of what we're building toward. This is the very, very first step. We're hoping to open source soon. So if you're building an AI coding tool, or if you're working in that space, or if you're a developer who's starting to explore and use AI coding tools, or if they're part of your workflow, I would love to hear from you.
Hey, I suppose that if I didn't get the one part from your talk, what is nuance graph? Is it like architecture of different microservices of monolith? I believe, like, as a software engineer, we also think in mind map, like, that how different microservices work. And do you have this architecture?
Yeah, so that's totally right. The goal is actually to be a cross-service sort of, map of everything, right? And by cross-service, I don't necessarily just mean code. As a developer, you integrate context for so many information sources. I think so many of us trace through Sentry exceptions, and we look at telemetry on Datadog, and we often see errors in production systems because the runtime environment is just totally different than what you might be able to test locally. And all of that context right now is missing from these AI coding agents. We want to be able to give like that rich understanding. But what we're starting with right now is one single repository, one single project, and we're using basically a call graph that we're generating using ASTs as well as like a different formalism. And then we're taking, but we're not taking the entire call graph of the entire code base. We're taking basically, we're starting with the one function that we care about, and then if that function references other functions, we basically create a subgraph and we annotate it with information about like, is this function pure? Does it have side effects? Does it change anything? That sort of thing. That's sort of what we're starting with. Does that answer your question? Okay.
Any questions from this side of the room? Questions? Here, in the back.
I'm coming.
Can you use Windsurf? What's your opinion about Windsurf?
What's your opinion on Windsurf?
I haven't played around with Windsurf too much, my team has. I've mostly used Cursor, Aider, as you saw, Continue, Climb, so I don't have a super well-formed opinion on Windsurf.
Yeah, you guys should check it out.
Are you a Windsurf, okay, you're just, no sponsor, okay, unsponsored ad. That's great, that's my goal, I want people to be like nuanced,
Awesome. Let's wrap there.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we've got a guest demo from one of our sponsors, Rome.
We are Rome. We are a fully featured AI HQ. Now, I don't have time to show you about all the amazing, incredible features of Rome that we have, like the overworld right here, which lets you go to different realms, or the map, which gives you a full company visualization with presence and shows you who's there, or a private office that lets you just knock and drop in on someone and have a quick conversation, or the theater, where there's an audience, there's a backstage, there's sound reactions. You can do all kinds of stuff in the theater for your all hands, or video conferencing rooms. And I don't have time to show you much about AI Inbox. AI Inbox is our chat system that has fully featured direct messages and groups. We also have all the meetings and meeting transcripts with highlights in here for every interaction that's happened in Rome, if you want that. Today, I am going to show you Operator, which we launched this morning. Now, Operator lets you build a programmable AI that can operate within the Breakthrough Rome HQ interface. We're launching this with our first partner, Windmill. Now, Windmill is a company that helps managers with AI superpowers. And they got this nifty bot, and here's what it does. It will go out and find a summary for every employee in the company and then submit it to a manager. It just kind of helps compile what happened for the week. Now, the founders of this company made this as a Slack bot. And they wanted something that was a little bit more interactive, a little bit more personal. Frankly, they wanted their bot, Wendy, to feel like she was part of the team. And what better way to do that than by having it right in HQ? So here's the Wendy bot right here. Now, Wendy can observe, she's right here in her own private office, that I, in my private office, am available to speak right now. And she needs to get my summary, so she's going to go ahead and knock. And when she knocks, in a second, she's going to come into my office, and I am going to see.
Hello, Howard. I'm Wendy.
Hey, Wendy.
Hi, Howard. It's Wendy. I just sent you a chat message.
Got
Let
it?
me know.
Okay, this is what I have this week. She's listing my accomplishments. Make competitive web page, practice weights. Can you tell me a little bit more about the weight training preparation for Chappie SL and why I'm nervous about it? Really nervous about it?
It seems like you're nervous about weight training with Chappie ASL. Would you like to include more details on that?
Yeah. Tell me why I'm nervous.
You're nervous about weight training with Chappie SL because he's known for his intense routines and high expectations. It's a step up from your usual workouts. But you've been practicing, so you'll be ready.
Do I get a handicap when I bench with him tomorrow?
No handicaps with Chappie SL. But don't worry, your preparation will pay off. Ready to make any changes to your accomplishments list?
All right, go ahead and delete the ultra productive positioning number 5. Go ahead and delete that.
Got it. Deleting the ultra productive positioning from the list. Anything else to change or add?
Remind me about my meeting with Jensen.
You met with Jensen to beg for more GPUs, crucial for your projects. It's about enhancing your computational power. Anything to modify on this?
No, I'm good. Okay, go ahead and send me the final summary.
All set. Thanks, Howard. Have a great week. Goodbye.
See ya. Okay. Now, she's also in her office. She's hanging out right here. Let's say I forgot something, I want to tell her something else. I'll just actually go ahead. She's available for me. So now I'm going here.
Hi, Howard. Welcome. Hello there, Hi, Howard. Welcome to my office. What can I help you with today?
Can you remind me about the competitive spec of Tandem versus Rome?
You wanted to know the competitive specs of Tandem versus Rome. Tandem focuses on team communication, offering video calls and chat for remote teams. Rome is more about structured data, with features like note-taking, organization, and linking thoughts. Each has unique strengths. Did you want to adjust your accomplishments list related to this?
Anything regarding the CEOs?
Sorry.
Okay,
Sure.
I'm good. Thank you. So that's Operator. Go
So
ahead.
this is a third-party app.
Yes, Winkle is a third-party application that is programmed here to do stuff and can work. So with Operator, a company can, with a single API call, join a meeting. It can send to the LLM tool calling and instructions with a goal. And best of all, it can just hang out there and be receptive to meetings that if someone wants to pop in and do this. So Operator gives you and your AI agent something totally different, a completely better and different way for you to interact, for your agent to interact with a company and be part of the team. You are all, every single person in here, is building your company for the future. You're trying to build the future. And you want to be part of your customer's future too. And you don't want to just build another Slack bot. You want to have your agent, your AI, your B2B AI as fully part of the team, in their HQ, collaborating synchronously with others in the Rome, in HQ. Nobody knows what the future holds. But I do know this. It's going to be built in an AI HQ, hopefully by all of you. Thank you.
I gotta ask just like one or two more questions.
No, go for it.
Can you guys hear me?
No, it's
Is the mic on?
Not on.
Yes.
All right, I gotta ask just one or two more questions because my last company was solving a piece of this, which is the virtualist HQ. And okay, so one of the things that I find really interesting about this, if you're working in a virtual HQ, it provides this amazing surface area to plug in third-party applications, AI applications, especially through voice, video, etc. Show of hands, how many people here use a virtual HQ for work right now? Okay, we've got a few. So the key question is like, how are you helping people? Like,
How many of you
how do
use Slack?
yeah.
How many of you use Slack? That's a virtual HQ.
Okay,
How many of you use Zoom? It fucking sucks.
agreed.
How many of you use a meeting note taker? Okay. These are all the components of it. How many of you use calendar booking like Calendly? How many of you have annoying salespeople that use Calendly? Okay, sorry.
Awesome.
Salespeople.
Yes,
These are all the features of a virtual HQ.
Awesome. What does it take for a company to switch? Rome?
So, first off, we now have 500 paying customers. We launched our self-serve onboarding on January 1st, and now you can go to r.am and sign up. We're very inexpensive. We're $10.50 a month per active user only. It's not like an infomercial. But if you were to go through and buy all those individual products, not only do we offer a far better experience, it's far cheaper. Rome is also global. When you think about a company of tomorrow is ultimately going to have a couple of properties. The first is that it is going to be globally distributed. My last company, when we started, we were a few people in a room, and then we were 30 people in a room, and then we were 3,000 people around the world. The reality is every company that succeeds becomes globally distributed. And what you need to do is get them all working together from around the world as if they were in the same room from anywhere. That's the first thing. The second thing about a company of the future, a company of tomorrow, is that it's going to be fully digitized. All these AI tools that you are all building, Rome is not an AI company. We're going to enable others we're going to bring AI to our customers in an interface, right? All the AI that you are building, it's going to leverage meetings and chats. And by the way, observing who's talking to who on the map, there's lots of signal that in order to make human experiences, we're going to have to get to end users so that people are able to collaborate as if they were one team, humans and agents working side by side together.
Sounds like a good note to wrap on.
Thanks, Rajiv.
Give up for Rome.
All right. One last thing, sign up if you want. My apologies, you can sign up to become a developer. We're looking for some pioneering AI developers. Go to r.am/operator. You can sign up there. Thank you.
All right. Who's next?
Solid Road is up next.
Solid Road.
Hello everyone. My name is Mark. This is Patrick. We're from Solid Road. We are building AI digital workers for contact centers. So contact centers being large call centers. And how we're taking a different approach is we're starting by enabling the human agents that are still in call centers. So we built an AI recruiter, an AI trainer, and an AI quality assurance analyst before moving into AI agents. So what we found with large enterprises is they're quite slow to move on AI. So we're kind of helping them make that transition over time. So for today's demo, we are going to kind of show three core components of the product. So what you need to build out is an AI persona. That persona can be someone interviewing someone, it can be someone training, it can be your QA person. Very easy to build that out, you can customize them. We have scorecards then, so this is where we're going to evaluate conversations at scale. So you can bring in scoring rubrics for sales, for customer service. And then finally, we've prepped.
So how much is this like an AI employee versus AI training?
Currently, it's more AI training. And what we're kind of looking to do is kind of build up a corpus of data around how the best agents, human agents, work in contact centers before ultimately looking to replace outsourced contact centers, BPOs as they're known. It's the kind of grandiose plan. So we have a demo today we prepared, and Rashid's allowed us to use his name here today. But this is me basically practicing a conversation. This is one of our training simulations that a sales or support rep would use to improve.
Hey, Rajiv.
Hi, look, I'm pretty busy. What does Solid Road bring to the table that we don't already have?
Very fair. What we do is allow your agents to practice with AI customers so they're not burning sales leads.
All right, but I'm not convinced. How does this help my team in real high-pressure situations?
So rather than you having manual trainers doing classroom-based learning or role-play training, we can scale that. So we can build out training scenarios and you can assign them to all your agents at once.
Okay, but we've got some solid trainers already. Why dump them for your AI solution?
Well, if you're looking to reduce OpEx in your company and get rid of lots of humans, we can definitely help you there. Okay, cool. So the post simulation, thanks for being so hard, Rajiv. We have like this kind of coaching, feedback, scoring mechanism. So We'll pull in these custom scorecards, we'll score against the conversation. You can watch back the recording and see areas of improvement as well.
So this is what you see after you do like a training simulation. You got score, breakdown. How are people using this right now? What are the adjustments that people are making after doing this training?
Yeah, it's a really good question. Really what we're seeing is where the tool is having the most effect is reducing round time for new agents. So these large call centers, they have 100% agent attrition year over year. So it's very costly for getting them basically productive in these call centers. So we can reduce that. We have companies like Crypto.com where we've got that down from 20 days to 9 days. And obviously there's lots of efficiency gains there.
Are you seeing people use it for other things other than sales training, like maybe YC mock interviews and things like that?
Yeah, we're in YC at the moment, so we did our demo to our partner the other day. But yeah, it's really interesting. We're kind of tweaking the prompts a lot. We've got some customer feedback around people using the simulator, conversation simulator, to practice like internal performance review conversations and firing employees, difficult conversations.
Difficult conversations. Very cool. Very cool. We've got time for a couple questions. Gabe.
I could just shout. How does it take cultural nuance into the situation? Like, how does it rate? Like, I saw like profanity with one, right? So I understand it's like conversational.
How does it deal with cultural nuance and profanity, things like that?
I am Patrick, I'm on the product team. So it's really down to the scorecard. So we have teams who kind of have multilingual teams, and they'll tweak their own scorecards to kind of capture that context. So it's kind of down to the prompts basically that you put in.
Nice. Akash.
You guys tweaked it differently. Like I saw Rajiv talking to jerk in that. So like is that just like kind of like, hey, this thing's in hard mode right now, so this person's gonna be a jerk, or do you like kind of like do some like background research on the person and like kind of give me a personalized jerk version of Rajiv?
Yeah, it's again, it's same. So we have like a set of prompts that we put in. It actually is the most difficult part of this is tweaking the difficulty, because it's very hard to get it to be like mean but not rude, or like, you know, pushy but not like an asshole. So there's like lots of really tweaky prompts we've done to make it easy, medium, hard, and then we have more custom difficulties as well. But yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you include any personalities? Because I could imagine that different people have different charisma, and sometimes like charisma is quite unusual thing. And how do you measure that it's like charisma in school instead of like it's asshole?
That is a great question. So there's a kind of a couple of aspects. I would say voice. So we allow customized voices, and you can tweak the personality, and again, it's down to like how you describe them. One interesting point on that as well is like cultural differences. So we have teams, particularly we're from Ireland, and we have teams across Europe using it for lots of different languages, and we have to really do like. So when we switch the language, we also add a little prompt being like, this person is from Spain. They have different cultural expectations. And so I think the kind of charisma piece, you know, one person's charismatic person is another person's like overbearing person, and that can be very culturally dependent as well.
And last question in the back.
Hi, my name is Jessica Thompson. Looking forward to speaking with you. Hi, my name is Jessica Thompson. Looking forward to speaking with you.
How does it handle a conflict with maybe an abusive situation? Will it de-escalate, or can it escalate? And how does it teach people to close sales?
Two great questions. So the first one, we have teams who work on trust and safety teams. And so particularly for them, we chat on email-based simulations, and some of those are around like identifying harmful content. And really it pushes the rep to try to de-escalate. I guess how it does it, it's really around how we set up the scenarios and how they interact with it. And then the scorecard afterwards, those teams will specify particular language those reps were supposed to use to de-escalate, or we'll give them suggestions on kind of examples of language, but again, it's in the scorecard. And then on closing, I guess it's sort of, it's using the language models and the corpus of information on the internet and all the kind of sales techniques to critique. So if you define like closing skills, it'll just use generic closing skills that's seen online, whereas if you define exactly the closing criteria for your business and you put that in the scorecard, again, it'll score based on that. So.
Awesome, thank you.
Next up, Codebuff. Codebuff, are you here?
Hello everyone, I'm James and this is Brandon, and we're working on Codebuff So Codebuff is basically like Cursor in your terminal. How many hands up if you've used Cursor before? Oh, quite a few people. Wow, nice. So basically, we're kind of like taking one slice of Cursor, which is the composer agent, and we're just building that in your terminal. So I think Brandon will like help us out. We can like start up a demo. Basically, to start, it's a CLI tool, so we type in Codebuff. Okay, one second while we're setting up. But so it's like one idea we have is basically let's spend more money on more LLM calls and get you better results. So we just have a higher price subscription and we just get more context on your code base. And we have customers who have tried all the tools and then they like ours the best because basically it's able to get better results in certain cases. Oh, here we go. So Brandon's already put in a prompt. Basically it says, make a fish tank simulation with lots of fish and stuff. We just put this into like a pretty blank project. And I think we'll start up the dev server. But just to give you guys a feel for what it can do. And then I think hopefully once we have it running, we can take some audience suggestions of like prompts that we could just put into it really quick and see if we can get a result. Cool. Yeah.
Wait, quick show of hands. Who here has tried Codebuff?
What?
All right, awesome. Yeah, it's kind of like, what was it, Nuance, the earlier? Yeah, like, she was using Aider, which is another tool, and I think ours is kind of like a combination of Aider and her tool, where it's like learning about it. Cool. Yeah, we were in the water. Oh, there we go. Let's go. So we asked it to create a fish tank simulation. It's Brandon has it open in the left. It's just running in the terminal, and then he's just adding another prompt. Add a shark that chooses the first or the nearest fish, or whatever fish around. So while he's doing that, does anyone have a suggestion of how to modify this like fish tank simulation? Just like quick like prompt. Anybody?
Loud.
Oh.
Add a boat, and when it runs over a fish,
I don't really know how to say that.
Okay, I guess we'll go with that one as the loudest, adding a boat. Okay. Oh, sure. So yeah, by the way, so like, as you can see, it's kind of, it's running a bunch of checks for you, which is configurable. It's designed to be somewhere between like Cursor and Devon, and our goal is to sort of like get more and so it's able to, you could iterate on tests like writing unit tests or running a type checker. It's kind of supposed to be full service, just like doing anything that it could to help you, and just doing more LLM calls and all that. Yeah, let's see.
What's it doing now? Like, what do you see about what it's doing now?
Cool. It looks like it edited into a type error, which it'll probably fix. So that's an interesting thing. So I figured out that there's something is wrong, and then I think there's Abraham to fix it. But one of the ways ours works differently is that it.
You see it?
Oh shoot! What is that?
The skull animation. So I'll show you.
Nice. One thing that we do differently than Cursor is we actually use LLMs in the file finding step, and it's actually expensive. So they just do some like simple RAG, which is like almost free, but we're actually using like powerful models in that step, and that can get you better results. I'm
just doing more stuff.
Okay. So like, the goal I think is to not actually use a text editor anymore. I think it's like that's where our vision differs from Cursor. I think in like 6 months or a year, you'll still need some engineering knowledge, but you'll just be prompting and it'll do the coding, like the actual manual coding. So I think like, to me that's pretty obvious where we're heading, so there's no need to use an editor at all. Like why even, that's why we're building an internal, because you don't need like a fancy text editor, all that. Are we adding a boat or did we already, I don't know what we're adding.
We can add a boat.
Maybe we should take questions.
Cool. Let's do some questions. Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Very good demo. How would you differentiate yourself from Lovable, which also take prompts and build in-house software for you?
Absolutely, that's a wonderful question. So Lovable is designed to sort of host your site in the web, and it does everything for you. Ours, you can drop this CLI tool in any existing code base, and so you can sort of I feel like it's sort of it's what separates a sort of a toy where you start building a project and then you can't really finish it there because there's only so much you can do in the browser, to something where you could just use Codebuff in a giant code base and it should work. So we're trying to build for software engineers that are doing their day-to-day work.
I really like the flexibility. We'll definitely try it out.
Yeah.
Ken, you want to ask your pricing question? Ken?
Before you move on to that, I just want to show you, this is how we use Codebuff day to day. I use VS Code, and I have it in my terminal here. It just kind of, does its stuff, and then I'm kind of monitoring the code changes that I see over here. So, just want to point that out there.
Yeah, it's a great demo. I actually use it inside Cursor. So, anyway, question?
I've been using it for a couple months. A lot of things I really like about it. One thing that I've noticed is that it will kind of run on past a mistake and kind of burn through credits, which is a very unsettling feeling. So one thing, I have one question about that, which is how can you sort of control what happens a little bit more sort of nuanced way? And the other is, have you thought about any kind of Git integration, so you have natural checkpointing?
Yeah, both of those are great questions. Sometimes it gets carried away. One of the really interesting things about our product is that we don't ask for permission to run any terminal command, and this freaks some people out, but it's totally the future, and we have 80 customers and they love it, and so it allows it to iterate, but as he's saying, sometimes it can get a little crazy, where it's trying to fix a test, but it just can't fix it, and it keeps iterating. So at the moment, it requires a little bit of human oversight, but I think that this is just a limitation of the models. We can hopefully try some things in the future, use better models and stuff to improve on that.
One last thing here is that we do have this knowledge file if you've played around with it. I would encourage you to just jump in there and be.
That's one of my favorite things.
What is the knowledge file? Would you like to?
Yeah, sure. So it's basically as it does something, I will stop it and say, oh no, actually don't do it like that. There's some more context. It takes notes in a markdown file that you can even check into your code base if you want, so that other people can use it. And it means it won't make the same mistake twice.
It's like Cursor rules, but it writes the rules.
Yeah. Very cool. Let's give it up for Codebuff.
Next up we have Cofactory. Cofactory, are you here?
Awesome. So I'm Joey. I'm Miles. And we are Cofactory. So quick question for the audience. What does every startup need? Anyone? Customers. Customers, yes, exactly. So we built Cofactory because we are the leader in autonomous customer acquisition. So why don't we just kind of run through a demo real quick? Awesome. So why don't we use, Codebuff? Something you guys are kind of familiar with. This is basically just the setup of how we would sort of intake one of our new customers.
Yeah, so I can. So this is the experience that Codebuff might have if they want to use our product, and we're just going to use our own booking link just for the sake of the demo.
Yep. Awesome. So what we've done is we've used Codebuff and gotten their website and used that for context to be able to build essentially the initial marketing angle for what it is, what it's about, who the customers might be, things like that. So we're just adding a little bit more context here. What's the biggest differentiator? Awesome. So developers really enjoy staying in their actual workflow. This is the context that we need here. What type of developer or team gets the most value from Codebuff? People who like terminals. Cool. Awesome. So as you can see, this is kind of getting more context and building all the information it will need to generate what we see next. So we have a summarization that we are generating right now. that basically gives you kind of a one page on your company or your particular marketing angle. You can go in and you can edit that if you want. But yep, here we go, cool. And now let me kind of talk through this next bit because this is important. Generally, we recommend that people use a marketing URL. Part of the reason for that is security. Part of the reason for that is the product that we've ended up building is focused on being both AI search native and SEO native, right? So the ability to drive traffic to your site, to your product, whatever, through Perplexity, through big AI search, things like that, right? So let's use trycodebuff.com for this. And the other important part is that it basically builds a larger footprint. So as you can see, we've spun up a landing page here. We'll go ahead and accept cookies. But what's unique about this landing page is not just that it's AI optimized, SEO optimized, whatever it is, but we also control it so we have the ability to qualify customers who come in through this. So let's make up, person comes in, they're searching for this, right? They sign up, and cool. Now what we have is we start to get a little bit of context on these people. Who are they? Why are they searching? What do they want? What types of code base are they looking to automate, for example? And we're able to get that context because we pulled it directly from Codebuff. Well, apparently we've been a little bit prettier, so that's okay. That's not too much of a problem. But we're able to provide,
qualification.
Basically, this is the job of, your average SDR, right? Calling and saying like, okay, what do you want? When do you want it? All that sort of stuff. So you can go through right here and book a Calendly link directly, which is kind of cool. And yeah, we filled out our own Calendly, so now we have a meeting on that. But yeah, should we go back to perfect? So as you can see, this is all built out. You can customize anything you want here. You can change the questions that are asked. You can change the design. That's all great. But this is the exciting part, and this is what makes Cofactory Cofactory. We have trained an AI to run hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different ads. These ads are then ranked against each other to figure out which ones are the best. So we get the best headline and subheadline possible. So when somebody searches for anything, for example, intelligent code restructuring, right? We're going to take them to the best headline and subheadline that are performed for that, and then take them all the way through to a customized landing page that speaks exactly to that. So this results in dramatically higher conversion rates and in dramatically more relevant search results. So we like to think of it as putting the custom in customer. So what we would do is we go through and run the ads here real quick, but let us flip over to kind of the actual results. So we dog food our own product, so we get ourselves customers right here. But as you can see, we've spent, I don't know, maybe a couple $1,000, I think, on this, and gotten a ton of super relevant leads. And if we click on them, we can actually see, the types of conversations that these people have. Why is this important? These are qualifying information right before the moment of conversion. So an incredibly valuable data set that allows us to get insight into why people are purchasing your product and basically does the whole job for you.
What kind of company are you building this for?
Small, medium business, all the way up to enterprise. We just signed a very, very large enterprise today, actually. So, yeah.
You have time for a couple questions? So yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Automatically set the odds as well?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
I sent email.
Yeah, nice.
Thanks.
How much is your subscription cost?
So it's not a subscription. What we charge is tokens for use on the platform. Yeah. Right now, for our early beta partners, we're charging zero margin on any of the ad tokens. So sign up.
I can just
Well, everybody else can't hear you.
Oh, yeah, I will not hear.
It seems pretty easy and simple. How much control does a marketer or product person have in the back end?
No, I'll keep it plain.
Yeah. So if you scroll along at the top there, you can see you have a visualization into all the different journeys that you're kind of coming in on. So you'll have, I don't know, top 15, top 20 that are actually economically productive. This is really important because it allows you to customize all the language and each individual page for those journeys. We don't bring you the ones that aren't useful, but what we make sure is that you can customize any of the other stuff that you want.
So I'm just making sure everyone gets a turn. So then, in terms of like, for example, that lead flow and qualifying flow, can you see that, and how much control do we have of that, and can we navigate that path for certain types of users that we're seeing?
Yeah, so we are in the process of building out a full journey visualizer to allow you to see exactly what your customers are searching for. We can show, I think, a little bit earlier. You have the ability right now when you click on the customer to see what they search for specifically, and their sort of journey, what they clicked on, what they're interested in, as well as the entire conversation that they had. You can even auto-generate an email given that context, so you don't have to do anything. Our thought was like, hey, it really sucks to have to call these people and try and get them to give you money. Let's just not do that. So, yeah.
How do I ask this? Okay, so when you're in the early stages of a product, it can be like, it's usually not a good idea to automate this type of sales motion versus doing founder sales, where you actually get to ask, like you get to look people in the eye and figure out whether they actually want what you're building. It's like, how do you navigate that? Like, why should early stage companies
Making an
use this at
autonomous
all?
product market fit builder.
Yeah. So that's, in part, that's true, but let's put it in the mindset of, I don't know, a plumber, right? All he wants to do is just get inbound people coming in, right?
Like more established businesses.
Yeah. So you have obviously the service businesses, the SMBs, like those work really well. But for our larger enterprise customers, for example, they just get a list of people who they can call, who they can throw into their system. That's not a problem either.
Yeah, so we're obviously a up-and-coming early-stage business, and we're doing this, right, and founder-led stuff as well, but the amount of information that we've gained from literally these results and looking at them, we've changed the hearing generation, we've realized what parts of the flow, what things, basically what people's expectations are at scale, right, without the bias of individual interviews and feedback.
So, to put it in marketing terms, I think a lot of people focus on account-based marketing, like, hey, we've got 10,000 people. If we target them very specifically, then our company's going to be a success. This is not a replacement necessarily for that. What this is just the warmest of warm leads coming into your door, so you don't have to worry about any of the overhead. You're just right there. You give them a call, you send them an email, boom, done.
Awesome. Let's wrap there.
I just have one question.
Yeah.
So, can you use this for yourself to just generate a bunch of leads for yourself?
Yeah, we have that. That's what we're showing.
So this is our landing page.
Yeah, this is our landing page that we use right here. It's kind of like printing yourself money. It's pretty sick. So,
it's a pretty cool conference.
Yeah.
Awesome. Give it up for Cofactory.
Last company is Nilo.
Hi everyone, I'm Mumaledia and I'm the founder of Nilo, and Nilo is the fastest way to build 3D worlds. And so I'm going to show them, and can you please...
Fastest way to build 3D worlds, all right.
So basically what you see here is a UI that is already prepared for spatial computing, because if you imagine how you build 3D games today is actually with Unreal Engine or Unity or Godot, where actually you have a lot of complexity in terms of how you create like file, drop objects. So here what you have is just radial menu inspired by, for example, Red Dead Redemption and other games. And here you can see that you're already seeing what is going to happen before it even happens, right? So I can just create here a cube, and it's already physics enabled, right? So I can just undo that, and actually my mobile phone just joined. So this is what it looks like. when someone else joins the session. And basically, this is me here on my phone.
So this is an interface for game development?
Yeah, exactly. So actually, I'm not sure why there is someone else here. But basically, you can see that it's live. This is me on my phone right now, right? So I can just go here and say.
Your phone is like a portal into this 3D world that you're creating,
exactly.
and you can visualize it.
Yeah, so
Right
basically
now.
what you can do here is just create 3D objects. So let's say that I want to create like a platformer. I would like a character, like what? Tell me a character. What do you want? What do you want to create here?
Shrek. Cat.
Cat. It's a big cat. For example, just create here a plane, and you could just start building a road here, for example, so that you could create a driving game if you wanted. So while our cat is here generating, it looks more like a tiger.
Tiger's a kind of cat.
Yeah. But here you can see that after it's generated, you have tools to manipulate it. So you can move it, you can scale it, and other people can see what you're doing because they're here in the 3D world, right? The idea is that even with just this simple menus, you would be able to just do things like duplicate this cat. Right? And you can see what's about to happen before it happens. Right? Where this becomes useful is, for example, if you're creating a platformer and you want to like duplicate this object so that you can create a platform for a character to actually move. So let's go and search for an image of an actual character. Someone tell me a character.
Shrek. Shrek.
Let's go Shrek. Let's see.
Just drag and drop.
And we'll see what happens.
I'm excited.
So while it's loading, that portal where you can see the 3D world through your phone,
Yeah.
is that something you came up with?
Yeah, basically this is the browser, so I'm just joining in. If I send you this link, you could also do the same thing and you can see it, right? So you can,
Yeah, so I'm seeing the world
and
through
you can see
his
that
phone.
I'm selected, right? So this is what's happening. And I can edit the world at the same time. Right. So now we have Shrek. And Shrek just fell because this is physics in there. We can fix that. We can say, okay, we don't want physics, let's move it on. And what we can do with Shrek is actually let's rig Shrek. And rigging is the process by which you create bones into the character so that they can move the hands and the legs. And so it's going to go from a lifeless Shrek to a live Shrek. And it's moving, but this is actually a ball. It shouldn't be moving.
So what you built here sounds like a combination of generative, like being able to generate 3D models, and then a unique visualization, and then an editing functionality.
So someone is actually in this world with me, and I don't know who.
URL is right there.
This is not even live. This is a NSF demo day exclusive because I never showed this live. It's only 6 months old.
Sorry, I copied the URL. It works amazing.
Do not spend all my credits. Okay, so actually it was not a bug. Someone was actually changing it.
Okay.
So I'm not sure why it's taking 25% and staying there. Usually you would get a rigging here. So hey, everyone can come in and join in. So
Very cool.
So let's spider
So we wrap.
people. Let's see if we can actually rig because this is going to be ridiculous. And I can show you like there's a collaborative editor, right? And you can try it on your phone too. So I can just say like, or I could speak it, move it up and down, and then it's going to an LLM and generate the code.
You can collaborate with an LLM and coworkers.
And you could change the code that I just put here. So I can go, well, what's the frequency? 2.5, and now it's actually changing on the fly, and you could change the code as well. In the meantime, I'm going to try to, rigging is happening.
And is this being used by game developers?
No, it's going to be for kids, because kids don't care that there are problems and they find it funny. Game developers will go like, this is wrong. I know, I've tried. I started this for game developers, and they were like, this is really cool, but it's missing all my features. But
this
kids
is like
are like, holy shit.
Roblox on steroids.
Exactly. And it runs on the browser, on Telegram, on Discord, on phone. So imagine Roblox that with generative AI, and it runs on all the platforms.
Wow. All right, we have time for just a couple questions. Yeah.
Yeah, can you see some game logic? So you know the player controller and everything. It looks like replacing objects.
Questions about game logic.
So if the reading had finished, I would have showed you animation, and the logic you would have seen here is the code editor. So you can say things like, if this moves against that, then, so you can add custom conditions like this, and you will eventually be able to have a code editor that's even more powerful than what you have, that allows you to create custom logic that will eventually also drive the UI and other characters.
Question?
Have you got any trademark issues if you're using Distracted?
Not yet, because it's not live. This is the advantage of being a startup. I've worked at Epic before, and Epic is actually like, no, do not use generative AI. I'm like, all right, I can just take those lessons and actually do something and eventually fix those issues.
All right, last question.
How much money is being spent right now?
Depending on how many people join. Every user session takes perhaps a few cents, and depending on how much you use it, it comes to a few dollars. And so, yeah.
Yes, last question about, can you add real people there? Because I believe security policies of different models do not allow to add real people, recognize.
Can you add real people?
Like an image of a person?
Like some Altman.
Yeah, you could. Like I could search for, Beyonce here and you could appear.
Awesome. Let's wrap there.
Okay, who has a good guess for how many claps we had total? Does anyone want to give me a guess? No?
1,500.
Wait, 30,000, over 30,000 claps. That's pretty impressive. Let's do a few more claps for that. All right, Robbie, you want to move us over to voting mode? Okay, we are moving over to voting mode. So if you look at your phone now, you can now go vote for best overall, best technology, and most creative. While we are all taking some time to vote, Rajiv is going to do a demo product time? Wow.
I am.
Okay. So cast your votes. We'll have a few minutes while Rajiv shows off all the cool stuff they're working on. Is my screen up? Okay, there we go. SF Demo Night Trophy Ceremony. Okay, we'll get straight to most creative. Can I get a drum roll, please, for most creative? SF Demo Night January. It's Nilo! Nilo! Where is Nilo? Come grab your trophy! Nilo, come grab your trophy. Want to go grab it? We'll get all three winners up here and then we'll take some photos, all right? Does that work? Sound good? Okay. As Rajiv is doing that, we're going to jump straight to best technology. And best technology, drum roll please for best technology of the night, goes to Big Smart. Where is Big Smart? Big Smart, come up and grab your trophy, your custom trophy for demo night. Okay. And, that work? Oh, sorry, these animations take a while. I spent a long time with those animations. Okay, and drum roll please, the award for best overall demo night goes to Cofactory! Cofactory wins best overall for SF Demo Night. All right. Come grab your trophies. All right, let me get the full list up here. We get some photos for a second.
Oh,
did you see that? That was a good cat. That was cat-like reflexes.
Awesome, bring it.
Morning, quick photo.
And then could you just don't block the sign, and then otherwise it's okay. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Thanks.
All right. You have any last words?
Thanks to everybody who demoed, and Yeah. Launch on Product Hunt. If anybody has any questions about launching on Product Hunt, Gabe in the hoodie, is our head of curation.
Ooh.
He can answer any questions.
He's very powerful. That's a powerful man over there. He's running away. Go get him. Okay. Once again, SF Donut was brought to you by the GenAI Collective and Product Hunt. Key sponsors: Graphite, Rome, Emergence. Thank you all so much. All the demos of tonight are going to be in the back. I think there's some more food. There's probably dessert. There's food and dessert. You can head to the back, go talk to all the companies, including the ones who won. All the sponsors are going to be back there. Thank you again so much for coming tonight. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for staying all the way through all of this. And we'll catch you next time.